The HOA has released a policy banning guns in common areas, including the town hall and park.
Not all residents agree with this outcome.
This is a letter that's causing an uproar around here. People who are gun owners are annoyed, to say the least.
That is not going to go over well.
Never seen an HOA even try to do this.
A new ruling bans guns in common areas.
They're upset over a letter they recently received about changes to the neighborhood's rules on open carry. That's the practice of carrying a firearm visibly in public.
They say a man's home is his castle, a sacred space where the reach of the state is supposed to stop at the front door. In the world of the Second Amendment, we talk about the castle doctrine, the fundamental legal principle that you have the right to use force to defend your family within your own four walls without a duty to retreat. But as we stand here today, a new and dangerous threat has breached those castle gates. This threat doesn't wear a tactical vest, they don't carry a badge, and they don't work for a federal agency. They are your neighbors. They are the volunteer members of your Homeowners Association, OA board. Just in the last 21 hours, major reports have begun surfacing that OAs across the country are moving into a new aggressive phase of what can only be described as private sector disarmament. We aren't just talking about a simple rule against target practice in the backyard. We are talking about sophisticated legal maneuvers designed to make gun ownership in a private community a legal and financial liability. If you live in a community with an HOA, and that includes over 75 million Americans, you need to understand exactly what is happening. While we have been celebrating massive wins at the Supreme Court, overzealous board members and anti-gun activists have pivoted. They've realized that if they can't win in the halls of Congress, they will take the fight to the one place where the Bill of Rights is being treated as a voluntary waiver. Your neighborhood's covenants, conditions, and restrictions, cc&rs. HOAs are coming after gun owners again with a renewed intensity. For years, gun owners felt protected by state preemption laws, which generally prevent local cities and counties from passing their own gun bans. This approach argues that the Bill of Rights only limits the government, not private corporations or private contracts. By framing gun restrictions as a contractual agreement you signed when you bought your home, they are attempting to bypass your Second Amendment rights from the inside out. This is a strategic escalation that didn't end with major court victories. It simply moved into new private battlegrounds. The first and most immediate tactic being reported is the common area encirclement. The board knows that thanks to recent Supreme Court decisions, they likely cannot legally enter your home and seize your firearms. So they are doing the next best thing. They are passing amendments that ban the possession or carry of any firearm in all common areas. To a casual observer, that sounds like the clubhouse or the pool. But in the fine print of many HOA agreements, the common area often includes the sidewalk in front of your house, the community roads, and even the parking lot. By banning firearms in these areas, they have effectively trapped your property inside your house. If you move your firearm from your front door to your vehicle to go to the range, you're now in technical violation of your housing contract. This is especially concerning when you consider the rise of high-definition surveillance in these communities. Boards are now using AI-equipped security cameras to flag residents who are seen transporting items that look like firearm cases. To protect your legal equity and maintain personal privacy, it is more important than ever to exercise total discretion when moving your gear. They aren't calling the police because, as recent rulings have established, law enforcement no longer has the right to stop you just for the act of carrying a gun. Instead, the HOA is acting as a private enforcement body, issuing daily fines that can range from $100 to over $500 per incident. They are attempting to make the exercise of your rights so expensive that you eventually surrender them. Next, we must address the inspection loophole, which is a direct attack on your privacy and the security of your home. Some boards are introducing new fire safety or insurance compliance bylaws. These rules mandate that any hazardous materials or high-risk assets that could affect the community's collective insurance premiums must be stored according to HOA-approved standards. They are increasingly moving firearms and ammunition into this hazardous category. They claim that for the protection of first responders, the HOA now has the right to conduct a safety walkthrough of your residence to verify that your firearms are stored in a specific approved safe. This is a massive red flag. If you refuse the inspection, you may be in breach of contract and face fines or legal action. If you comply, you have just provided a group of private citizens with a complete inventory of your collection. This is essentially a private gun registry being built by your neighbors. In an era where data leaks are constant and red flag laws are being weaponized through false accusations, this is an unacceptable risk. Unlike the government, a volunteer board isn't bound by the same strict privacy laws or the Fourth Amendment. meaning a list of your firearms and their locations could end up on an unsecured digital drive managed by someone with no security training. To maintain your personal privacy, you must understand the storage laws in your state and how they interact with these private agreements. We are also seeing the weaponization of nuisance clauses. Almost every HOA has a rule against nuisances activities that disturb the peace or create a perceived danger to neighbors. Reports indicate that some boards are expanding this definition to include the visible cleaning of a firearm in an open garage or the display of Second Amendment-related materials. If a neighbor walks by and claims they felt unsafe by seeing you clean your equipment, the board can label you a community nuisance. In many states, repeated nuisance violations allow the HOA to place a lien on your home. The Supreme Court has recently made what experts call brutal calls regarding home equity, and if an HOA can link a violation to a financial lien, they can literally jeopardize the roof over your head. This is a compliance trap designed specifically to target long-term homeowners and seniors who have spent decades building equity in their property. You might be asking how this is possible after recent court decisions shattered the foundation of gun control. The legal truth is that we are currently in a transition period. Many anti-gun officials are encouraging these private sector restrictions as a way to bypass federal court orders. However, the tide is starting to turn. In the recent Wolford v. Lopez opinion, the court addressed the impact of gun laws on private property and the concept of sensitive places. The vampire rule, which sought to make almost every public and private space a gun-free zone, is being challenged and declared dead in various jurisdictions. Legal scholars are now arguing that because HOAs perform government-like functions, such as providing security, managing roads, and collecting quasi-taxes, they should be legally classified as state actors. If they are state actors, then the 2nd, 4th, and 14th Amendments apply to them, just as they apply to the government. Until that legal battle is won, you must understand the current risks. We've seen in states like Maryland and Virginia how quickly a law-abiding owner's property can be reclassified due to new technical definitions. HOAs are using these same shifting definitions to claim that certain types of firearms are inherently dangerous to the community and should be removed from the property entirely. They are counting on the fact that most homeowners are hesitant to face high legal fees, and HOA can use your own monthly dues to pay a law firm to challenge you, while you have to pay out of your own pocket to defend your rights. So how do we push back legally? We look to the Virginia Revolt as a blueprint. When the state government tried to push mandates that residents felt were illegal, the people and local officials openly challenged them. You can bring that same energy to your neighborhood. First, you must read your cc&rs immediately. Look for vague terms like hazardous, nuisance, or safety inspection. Don't wait for a fine to arrive in the mail. Second, you must consider uniting the community for a board takeover. Most HOA boards are run by a handful of busybodies who only have the positions because no one else volunteered. If you and your pro-Second Amendment neighbors run for the board, you can take control and strike these restrictive rules from the bylaws legally and permanently. Third, we must push for state-level legislative protection. Some states are already moving to prohibit HOAs from infringing on the lawful possession and storage of firearms. We need HOA 2A protection acts in every state to ensure that a private contract can never supersede an inalienable right. Finally, you must practice personal discretion. As we've seen in recent legal updates, one mistake or one incident of printing can lead to devastating civil fines or legal complications. Arming yourself with education is your best defense. The battle for our rights has shifted from the floor of the Senate to your local sidewalk. It is an attempt to turn your neighborhood into a sensitive place where your rights are restricted by private decree. But there is hope. Federal authorities have launched massive new lawsuits aimed at ending these types of bans nationwide. As the legal system begins to address these private sector infringements, it is only a matter of time before the courts set their sights on HOA overreach. Stay vigilant, read your contracts, and remember that your home is your castle. Your rights do not end where your property line begins.